Hey there, PCOS TTC moms, and welcome to the Becoming Moms Method. This is Dr. Tian Pramlab. I'm a mom of one, fertility coach, pharmacist, and someone who's been there in the trenches of PCOS infertility myself. Like the trailer has mentioned, I spent over 2 years trying to conceive with insulin resistance and PCOS. And I know how exhausting it is to feel like you're doing everything right, tracking, testing everything, tweaking your diet and lifestyle, over exercising, yet still wondering when it will finally be your turn. That's why this podcast exists. Here, I want to give you a breakdown of all of my tips and strategies. They're science-backed, realistic strategies to help get your ovulation back, balance your hormones, optimize your egg quality, and help you move closer to meeting your baby. So if you're ready for my expert guidance, real talk, and a little bit of humor along the way, hit that follow button and let's dive in. This week is probably pretty exciting. We're talking about the best way to track ovulation in our episode. And especially tracking ovulation with PCOS is different than tracking ovulation. Well, technically not particularly, but in a way, yes. So when I first started trying to conceive, I bought a bunch of, the OPK, the over-the-counter tracking test strips. And I just went to town with tracking, even though I had like zero period, no cycle whatsoever. So I don't even know what I was doing with those. Yeah, so if you're like me and you're confused, frustrated, or just straight up feeling betrayed by ovulation tracking while you're having PCOS, you're not alone, right? Ovulation tracking is hard enough when you have a regular cycle, but when you have PCOS, things gets even trickier because we have no ovulation, irregular cycle, inconsistent period, hormonal imbalances, and misleading OPKs. If you don't know what that is ovulation predictor kits. Can make you feel like you're constantly guessing when or if you're ovulating. So like, when do I have sex? I have no idea. Right, so today we're going to break it down simply and effectively. What's worth your time, what's not, the best way to track ovulation with PCOS, and what to do when nothing seems to work. Because this can feel like a full-time job, right? There's so many apps out there now. I get so many ads on Instagram, especially about what I should try next and what's the next best thing. There's so many advice out there too. So by the end of this episode, hopefully you'll have a clear strategy of how to track your ovulation without any stress or second guessing yourself, because things can be really confusing, right? I was talking about my story earlier. I remember the first time I tried to use the OPK with PCOS, I thought, oh, this will be super easy. Pee on a stick. If it's positive, I'm ovulating. Well, not so much. I sometimes would never even see a positive at all, which makes sense because I would go for like 6 months without having a period. Yeah, and then sometime I would see that, oh, maybe it's getting darker, maybe it is positive, but then the next day it's not. So now, well, so am I testing, or am I ovulating or not? Right? And the doctors would tell me, oh, just keep testing. It wasn't great, right? I feel like my body wasn't giving me any clear answer. And if you felt that way too, it's not just you, right? PCOS can make traditional ovulation tracking pretty much unreliable. So let's talk about what actually works when you have PCOS and how to track ovulation in ways that make sense for your body, particularly for PCOS, right? And tracking, I haven't really mentioned this, but now I don't even track anything, and I know for sure that I'm ovulating because 2 weeks time I shall have my period. It's just like clockworks. And I never even thought that this day would come like so in synced with my body because I was on, birth control for over 10 years, and it masked all the symptoms. I didn't know I had any hormonal imbalances at all. And I thought things would just come back naturally, but they didn't. Right. So how did I go from that to this? Let's talk about it. So now tracking is very simple for me. I don't use any apps. I don't pee on anything. Well, I'm not trying to have a baby at the moment anyways, but even if I would, actually, yeah, I would still use OPK if I were to try for a baby now. But I'll talk about that. Right. But tracking should be simple. You don't need any expensive tools or apps or anything like that. You just need to listen and kind of read your body's signals and signs. Okay, so
During this quick interruption, but I have something I know you're going to love. If you've been feeling frustrated, lost, or just plain exhausted from trying to figure out how to regulate your cycle if you have irregular ovulation with PCOS and have to optimize your egg quality on your own, I've got you. I have a free masterclasses called Bun and Oven where I walk you through exactly how to regulate your cycle so you know exactly when you're ovulating, boost your fertility without any crazy restriction or cutting out all of your favorite foods, take simple science-backed steps that actually move you closer to meeting your baby. So who is this masterclass for? So if you have PCOS or other metabolic syndrome, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, or maybe you're struggling with insulin resistant, then you come to the right place. And if you've been trying to conceive for a while now, or maybe you're just starting out and you don't know exactly what you need to do in order to get pregnant, this free masterclass is also for you. So in this class, we're also going to be talking about how I got pregnant naturally without taking any medication or supplement, even though I'm a pharmacist. And I'll show you how I did that. Right? I spent over 2 years trying to conceive, and I'll be able to go in depth a little bit more on the little mistakes I made along the way and what to do instead and how to avoid what I did to help you conceive a lot sooner than I did, right? I don't want you to have to spend 2 years trying to figure this out on your own. If you can take a shortcut, why not? This entire masterclass is about less than an hour long. I also will show you the method that I teach my clients now that helped them fall pregnant within 6 months, and one mama even got twins. So we'll go over how I regulate my cycle. It's normally really spaced out. Every 6 months or so, I would have a cycle, maybe once or twice a year. But after learning what I will show you in this masterclass, it was coming every single month right on the dot, every 28 days, which is kind of insane, right? That is exactly what you'll get in this powerful training. So my proven method that allowed me to regulate my cycle from over 108 days long to a 30 days consistent cycle, and how I improved my insulin resistance by lowering my A1C from 5.7, which is the pre-diabetes range, to 5.4, which is the normal range, in only 6 weeks. And I continue to keep it down even now, 2 years postpartum. And finally, all the common mistakes I made, but once avoided, I was able to fall pregnant naturally without any medication or supplement. And this entire training is completely free, and you can grab it right now at this link, bit.ly/meetmybaby. So bit.ly/meetmybaby. All right, so let's go back to today's episode.
Number one, we need to be focusing on is don't rely on OPKs alone. Use multiple methods, okay? So if you have PCOS, standard OPKs might not work for you because OPKs measure LH, which is luteinizing hormone. And with PCOS, we often have a baseline of LH levels, and that means that OPKs can give you false positive, showing a surge when you're actually not ovulating, or they may never show a positive, even if you are ovulating. So what to do instead is choose kind of like a PCOS friendly option, and track estrogen plus LH to get a clearer picture. Clear Blue Advanced Digital OPK can really help with that. But again, don't rely on OPKs alone. Just use them as one piece of the puzzle and not your full method. And the next one, actually, is to look at basal body temperature. So this is the only method that confirm ovulation. So basal body temperature is one of the best way to confirm ovulation with PCOS, because after ovulation, your body produces progesterone, which slightly raises your temperature. So here how that works. So take your temperature first thing in the morning, right before you get out of bed, and look for a sustained temperature rise for 3 or more days. This confirmed ovulation actually happened. It won't predict ovulation, but it proves whether or not you actually ovulated that cycle, and I would use that as data to predict the next cycle, right? And use a actual basal body temperature thermometer. A regular one won't really work. Other apps will have accurate charting as well. I actually have not used any of these apps, but um, a lot of people have mentioned something like Fertility Friend or Temp Drop, and pair it with other signs like cervical mucus, which is actually our next point. And I feel like this is the most important point, really, because that's what I use for a complete picture, right? So I use cervical mucus, and that changes throughout your cycle, and it's a great sign for natural ovulation. Natural sign for ovulation. Okay, so what to look for? The dry or sticky mucus, it's kind of the beginning of the fertile mucus. And creamy or lotion-like mucus, you're getting closer to ovulation. And then when you see egg white and really stretchy, like super thin, watery mucus, this is your most fertile time. And what to do now, I would actually just check daily after using the bathroom. Look for clear, slippery, stretchy mucus. It's mean ovulation is near. And combine this with whatever app you're currently using or basal body temperature for the most accurate results. And you can actually use OPK in this time as well if you are now getting cervical mucus. Because before, when I was on birth control, and even after that, for a while too, I would never see any cervical mucus. And after improving my nutrition, movement, and sleep, basically balancing my hormones and really calming my nervous system, my body starting to work a little bit better, and cervical mucus was one of the changes that I saw. So I combined that with the OPK testing, but definitely you can also do basal body temperature, right? And that's how I would recommend you use your body signs for tracking your ovulation. Otherwise, things can get really expensive if you're chasing the next best thing to really help you figure out when you ovulate or not. But if you are trying and you're, in a care of a physician, you can also get an ultrasound to confirm ovulation, right? If you're doing like some sort of ovulation induction this cycle, ultrasound can help you confirm if a follicle is actually growing, and if you see a follicle is coming out of your ovary, it can show that you actually ovulated, right? So it's kind of just show signs that things are working, but that can be maybe not accessible to everybody. Not all clinics offer this. I'm not really sure, right? So that's just something to kind of think about. But again, don't rely on apps alone. Don't rely on OPKs alone. Definitely multiple methods. are best, and OPKs, basal body temperature, plus cervical mucus tracking are normally what I really recommend. And to know when to actually have sex, normally when you're at the egg white creamy, no, the egg white stretchy for the mucus, you're basically kind of too late already. I would start having sex at the beginning, like when you see sticky mucus, like when you're not even ovulating yet, because sperm can live up until 5 days technically, but in all honestly, they have to be really high quality sperm to live, and then your cervical mucus have to be super plenty and fertile for them to live that long. So technically they don't really have 5 days, but that's why we want to get started early and do it every single day while the mucus are building up. And then after that, you can kind of do it every other day or take a break. But that's what I would recommend, right? But if you've already tried everything and you still aren't sure if you're ovulating or not, here's what I would do, right? Start tracking consistently, at least 3 cycles. Don't just rely on one method again. Make sure that your body is getting what it needs to ovulate. If ovulation is inconsistent, we'll have to focus on your nutrition, your stress, right? Key nutrient, what you're doing, what might be missing, and then of course get support if needed. If ovulation is not happening in your cycle are longer than 60, 100 days, even longer than 35 days, might be time to get some interventions, right? But to kind of recap everything, tracking ovulation shouldn't take over your life. Keep it simple, focus on what works for you, and utilize cervical mucus to predict your most fertile days. And PCOS again is different, but it's not impossible to get pregnant with. Your body has patterns. You just need the right tools to find them and really focus on listening to your body. Don't neglect all the signs that's telling you. We get really busy and it's hard to kind of prioritize ourselves, but that's basically what you need to do. Prioritize yourself, and naturally things will fall into place, right? So I hopefully this episode was helpful and it helps you kind of get a fresh perspective on tracking ovulation. And honestly, I really only use now the Fitbit app. I use that to track fitness, sleep, and ovulation all in one. I mean, I don't complicate things, and you don't have to either, right?
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Becoming Moms Method. I hope you found it super helpful and most of all, that it gave you a little bit more clarity and confidence in your fertility journey. And if today's episode really resonated with you, and if you're nodding, thinking along, yes, this is exactly what I need help with, then I want to invite you to take the next step. Because here's the truth, right? You don't have to keep guessing, keep second guessing, or keep trying random things, hoping something will work, which is what I did for over 2 years. You deserve a plan that actually made for you. So that's exactly why I created your next step called the Sticky Baby Formula. So you don't have to keep wondering what's missing or if you're doing the right thing. So with Sticky Baby Formula, I take a deep dive into your fertility journey and I tell you exactly what's working, what's missing, what to do next, right? Think of it as me sitting down with you, breaking it all down, giving you clear, personalized roadmap so that you can stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress towards your baby today. If that sounds like something you need right now, go to this link to get started. So bit.ly again, bit.ly/mystickybaby. Once you fill out this form, I'll personally go over it. I'll look at your information and everything that you submitted from this personalized form, and I'll send you a custom-made video with me recording my screen, sharing all of the tips. I will create a roadmap for you with all of my best recommendations according to what you provided, and you'll get this personalized video in 48 hours. So this is your chance to stop all the guesswork and start taking action with confidence. So if you're ready, head to bit.ly/mystickybaby now, and I can't wait to personally walk through this with you. I'll give you that link again. It's B as in boy, I as in igloo, T as in Tom, L as in Larry, Y as in yellow, /my-sticky-baby. All right, friend, until next time, take care, stay hopeful, and know that I'm always cheering you on.